Hey bro, what's up? Hope you're ready, because this update is massive and wild in all the best ways. So, version 1.19 drops a whole new paid expansion called Alloyed Collective, and it reshapes a lot of what you thought you knew about Risk of Rain 2 runs. First off, the new content package brings two fresh survivors to the roster: Operator, who comes unlocked, and Drifter, who you'll have to earn. And both of them play with new toys and interactions that push team play and drone usage into the spotlight. Operator is basically built around drones. His kit makes those little metal buddies feel meaningful beyond being cannon fodder. And Drifter has this nimble risk-reward feel that mixes well with high-mobility, glassy builds. Both survivors change how you approach items and positioning, so expect people to experiment with some unexpected synergies right away. The expansion adds 7 new drones that aren't just eye candy. They've been given improved AI, better follow behavior, focus fire logic, and even extra survivability against things like void fog and certain big attacks. Drones now feel like micro teammates rather than passive minions. And there's a whole drone station/modification angle where you can tweak them during a run so they actually scale with your strategy instead of feeling random. One of the quality of life and gameplay twist mechanics that's going to be talked about non-stop is remote operation. When you die in multiplayer, you can take control of an ally drone until you either get revived or the stage transitions. That single change alone shifts the penalty for dying in co-op. It's less punishment and more tactical continuity, especially in later loops where every second matters. On top of that, drones are cheaper to repair when destroyed, down by a third. Some specific prototypes like the TC-280 got buffs to damage, armor, and health, and overall drone upkeep feels friendlier to runs that build around them. There are 7 new stages plus a night loop variant, and the maps range from mining caverns and conduit canyons to repurposed craters and fortress-like areas. The new environments are designed to push you into different movement and placement decisions. Some narrow corridors favor area of effect setups, others reward kiting and precise drone positioning. For those who live for boss fights, there are 2 new teleporter bosses and a brand new final boss tucked into the depths of Petrichor 5. This changes late loop pacing and forces builds that once steamrolled the endgame to actually adapt. Enemies-wise, the expansion brings several new foes and mini-boss types that interact with the drones and new items in interesting ways, which means the meta is probably going to pivot fast as players find powerful item combinations. Item-wise, there are around 18 new items in the package, many of which explicitly synergize with drones or manipulate combat pacing. Some are straightforward power spikes, others are situational tools that will likely find a niche in high-level play or niche builds. A key social ownership note: most of the content like stages, monsters, and items can spawn in a multiplayer lobby even if only one player owns the DLC, but only the player who owns it can pick the new survivors or permanently unlock the new logbook entries and rewards. So you can run with friends and still see alloyed collective content, but unlocks remain tied to ownership. The patch also includes a host of global changes that apply whether you bought the DLC or not, and that's where the smoothness and balance touches land. Drone AI improvements, the aforementioned remote operation, and balance tweaks to certain drone types and interactables. Developers bumped base drone regeneration and gave drones damage reduction against some high-damage environmental attacks, which makes relying on them a more realistic strategy rather than a gimmick. Beyond drones and survivors, there are new interactables and secrets sprinkled across the new stages. Some are teased in the patch notes as intentionally hidden to let players discover them organically, which is a nice nod to exploration. Modders and people who rock big mod lists should be cautious, as with any sizable update and paid expansion, mods that touch NPC AI, spawn tables, or player hooks may need updates to remain stable. Backing up mod configs before launching a run is a good practice, while authors push compatibility updates. From a meta perspective, expect the community to run toward drone-centered builds, operator-centric team comps, and a period of theory crafting where both balance and quality of life adjustments will follow. Historically, expansion launches spawn a couple of hotfixes as interaction edge cases and overpowered combos get discovered, so don't be surprised if a few quick patches follow within days. The DLC's new final boss and teleporter bosses will likely reshape what players identify as safe late loop strategies. Certain tanky or high sustain builds may be less dominant if those bosses punish predictable patterns. Performance and memory optimizations that have been pushed in previous updates remain relevant. If you're on lower-end hardware, you may notice general loading and stability improvements, but expect the heavier stages and new entities to add load in ways that could require additional optimization patches. Community reaction is mixed excited. Many outlets and players love the drone focus and fresh survivors, while others are cautious based on previous DLC rollouts that needed quick fixes. Personally, if you care about new playstyles and watching the meta evolve, this expansion gives a ton to chew on, from piloting a drone as your temporary avatar after a death to reshaping loadouts around drone scaling and new items. The way you approach a run could change substantially. Overall, this update is a big content infusion. New survivors, new stages, new enemies and bosses, a pile of items, and a drone ecosystem that now matters in ways it didn't before. And whether you jump in for the lore, the mechanical toys, or the competitive ways people will exploit combos, it's going to be one of those patches that keeps the community busy for weeks.